Don't you love Imperial Guard with fancy flashlights with just a little bit extra power in their battery pack? Well, if you like them, then you're probably going to like this review of the Tempestor Scion Command Squad. Anyways, this is Sprues and Studs, and obviously today we are going to be taking a look at two of the action figures in the Tempestor Scion Command Squad, which is going to be the Tempestor Prime as well as the Banner Bearer. So without further ado, let's get to the review. Let's get to this Banner Bearer, shall we? And what does he have to offer us? Let's get that open. All right, it is Banner Bearer time, and this is everything that comes with the Banner Bearer, minus 4 separate hands, which I'm not going to feature here. That being said, let's take a look at what's going on with this guy. Specifically, let's look at the action figure itself. So with this guy, you've got your characteristic beret up here, which is a very cool looking thing, as you kind of see all these like elite troops of the modern day in this era wear this beret. So it's kind of cool that they tie it with the Tempestus Scions. So anyways, this guy has a very prominent eye patch that covers up his left eye, and you've also got a very piercing looking stare coming from this Banner Bearer. Looks like he's got steely cold eyes that are staring hard back at you. So up top you have your characteristic Scion antenna, as well as this lens or viewfinder, whatever the heck you want to call it up here. And there's also that prominent instrument panel that you see on the right hand side as well as the left hand side. The armor itself has some shading where you see the gold meeting the blue areas. On the right hand side we have the characteristic tome, and then on the left hand side there is the canteen that I also like on these action figures. Then focusing on the lower region of this action figure, you get to see two very prominent frag grenades down here, and there is plenty of shading on the frag grenades, which again leaves a lot of depth and detail on this figure. The color patterning of the cloth on the pants is again something that we've seen before, and it looks like these guys have the exact same prints, the exact same wrinkles, and the exact same pleats. And then looking at the bottom half, you get to see the characteristic boots with the straps and the buckles. Same thing on this side. So I'm going to put this action figure down, and we're going to look at probably the most prominent thing on this guy, which is this gigantic banner. I mean, this banner is, if this guy is like, what, roughly 5 to 6 feet tall, this is 6 feet across this banner is. So the banner is made of a soft, flexible material. I believe this is probably the same material that they use for the capes. And as you can see here, there is a ton of detail that's going on, and this is the main attraction of this action figure and the exact reason why I chose to buy this thing. I love standards. They are great to be putting in a display, and your eyes naturally gravitate toward this. So anyways, with the standard, you get to see the characteristic skull with the wings on it. It's got this very long tasseled metal region here that has a bunch of shading on the recesses of the balls. And then you have the prominent Scions logo right here. The double Aquila is also very prominent on this thing. And then in the middle, you have a very prominent skull and 2 lions that flank the skull. Let's flip over to the other side, and you get to see probably the largest double Aquila that has ever been produced by JoyToy. I mean, this thing is insanely prominent on here, and there's wrinkles on this standard to make it look more lifelike and flowing. And to take a look at the Hotshot Las pistol, so you've got the black casing that's around it, the gold skull with the wings, and then all the rest of the other bits on this, the muzzle, the magazine, or the battery pack in this case, they're all that characteristic gunmetal color that we're so used to on our Space Marine bolt rifles and bolt pistols. Picking up this backpack has been replicated again. in that you've got this lovely, very lifelike looking bedroll up top, and I suppose a container to store your personal effects up here. So this also comes with a pull as to mount the standard on, and finally you get a clear base on this action figure that helps to balance the figure as well as the banner. And this part right here also helps stabilize the banner. So now that we have the standard bearer reviewed, let's move on to the Tempestor Prime. Tempestor Prime time. Let's see what we got for the Tempestor. And the big reveal for the Tempestor. The Tempestor Prime, the head honcho of the Tempestus Scions. And just like his banner-bearing subordinate, you have a beret that's up top, and the beret is a red color that's been nicely shaded, and you have the double Aquila symbol that's also on it. The Prime has very, very cold and calculating dark blue eyes that's been screened very nicely. And you also get a very distinguished mustache here, along with him barking orders, I'm going to assume. Then when you look at the middle of this action figure, there's a big, thick gray chain that runs across right here. The gold patterning on his front armor is also different. And then we are going to take a look at the accessories that this guy has. So he's got a combat knife / dagger, and I'm pretty sure that you're able to unsheath the thing like this. So it is sharpened to a very, very wicked point. And as you flip this around, there is that characteristic gold color, but you don't get to see any color gradient on this, unlike what we've seen for the power swords. You flip this around, you get your characteristic canteen. As I have stated before, the patterning on the fabric on this Tempestor Prime is completely the same and used over and over again throughout the whole entire JoyToy Tempestus line, so I will not go into too much detail on this. The backpack is a repeat from the banner bearer, so if you point it side by side, this is the banner bearer one, and this is the Tempestor Prime. So let's get to the differences on this action figure. And because he is a Tempestor Prime, he gets a fancy bolt pistol. And the bolt pistol is similar to the ones that we have seen for the Space Marines. Black casing, gunmetal color around the other places on this gun. And the most prominent thing we're going to be looking at is this Imperial coat that goes around the shoulders of the Tempestor Prime, starting off with this servitor skull. Now this servitor skull looks more like a servitor snake, as you are seeing right here. And this thing is actually attached to the cape by these two studs back here. So it seems pretty secure to me and won't fall off. But anyway, let's take a look at the servitor skull. You've got this almost gear-like halo around the skulls. And then dangling down from the skull, you get almost like a incense type of thing that is emanating some smoke. And looking at this coat, soft plastic material, mimics the capes of the Space Marines. You've got some interesting kind of decorations on this coat. Some gems that have been base coated a silver color with a translucent red coating. Then you have the buckles and clasp of this cloak with the wings as well as the skulls. So you may be wondering how this coat fits on the Tempestor Prime. You can just put this around the top and call it a day. So you also notice that there is a hole where the hands can go. So it looks like the Tempestor Prime is actually wearing it. So we're going to do exactly that. And there we go. The Tempestor Prime is wearing his regal cloak. And the next thing that we will do is figure out exactly how that banner sits with the banner bearer. Okay, with the banner bearer, we're supposed to be slotting this part in with the base, like that. So we're going to be putting this pull on this area on the banner. It fits in like that. And then apparently what you're supposed to do is put the end of the pull on this slotted area and then kind of snap this into place. And there you go. You have a solid base. And now we have yet another action figure review concluded. Time to wrap this one up. Now that the Tempestus Scion Command Squad has been reviewed, let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. And I now will give you my 2 cents on these two action figures over here. The thing that I like the most about the banner bearer is obviously the banner itself. It is a very prominent and eye-catching thing that you would definitely have your, well, eyes gravitate toward if you see this thing on display. And weirdly enough, the second thing that I actually like about the banner bearer is that he's got very cool looking frag grenades, to be honest. With regards to the Tempestor Prime, I really like the face on the Tempestor Prime. He's got a very distinguished beard, goatee, whatever you want to call it, that makes him a very elderly statesman, that he knows what he's doing. And I also like that diminutive little dagger that he has, which I think is pretty cool looking in all honesty. So there are a couple things that I wanted to point out to you all with regards to this. So you saw that the Tempestor Prime, you either have to pick the backpack option to put on or the coat option. You can't put on both, as it's not going to look quite right. So that's a little bit of a drawback you need to think of. The second thing that you need to be aware of is that these guys don't exactly have the greatest posing ability. I had a lot of hard time trying to pose them in the B-reel to try to get them to kneel properly. But overall, would I recommend you to get this? Well, obviously, if you have the regular Tempestor Scions, you definitely have to have this command squad because, well, everybody needs a leader to have in their group. So that's what I would recommend. So once again, this is Bruce and Studs. Thank you so much for tuning into these videos. I'm very humbled again that everybody likes to watch these things. And I'm very thankful for all of your support. And if you're not subscribed, please remember to hit that subscribe button for me because it helps the channel very much and it helps prioritize things. And as usual, I will see you all in the next one.